Something else that we learn from Jeremiah after the call, God's plan is not about you, but it is for you. It's not about you, but it is for you. Oh, sovereign Lord, I said, verse 6, I can't speak for you. I'm too young. Jeremiah's excuse was to say that he was too young. And maybe we can't blame Jeremiah based on the messy business that he was called to. Jeremiah recognized instantly what God was telling him to do. He was being called to tell the people of Israel that it would get worse before it got better. He was called to tell them that the way that God was going to get them back on track was to allow their enemies to overtake them. You heard that, didn't it? God didn't promise them silver and gold. He said, no, I'm going to fix you by allowing your enemies to overrun you. And Jeremiah said, hold on, I'm 17 years old. You want me to go tell everybody in the town that the enemy is coming because you said so. And guess what? I'm going to be invited to the party. No, Lord, I'm a little too young. Why don't you get one of them old preachers? God says, no, I'm calling you to this assignment because there's something that I put in you that is needed for this hard task. Men and women of God, we can't blame Jeremiah. Maybe he was worried because there were not too many prophets being called at that young age. Most of the workers in the temple were seasoned, but this is my reminder and opportunity to speak to every younger person in the room that God will not wait until your senior season to use you. God wants you to get yourself together right now, whether you are in elementary school, middle school, high school, college, master's degree, wherever you are on the spectrum. God ain't waiting for you to get on your walker before you start working for him. God wants you to use you right now because there is a preparation process that you have to go through. Let me tell you about the preparation. Again, it's easy to have a plan, but nobody likes the preparation. The great Right Reverend Iron Mike Tyson once said that everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Men and women of God, I'm here to tell you, I got to be like Jeremiah, I suppose, and tell you some bad news. Is that the plan that God has for you right now? You're about to get punched in the mouth. You ever set out to do something good, and before you know it, bam, you got punched in the mouth? Men and women of God, there are a variety of punches that we experience. Israel was punched in the mouth because they had walked away from God. It happened because they were disobedient. Sometimes we get punched in the mouth because we are hard-headed and disobedient, and God got to give us a little bit of that, that get right, if you will, to get us back on track. But what about when you get punched in the mouth when you were doing everything that you were supposed to do? What about when you get punched in the mouth right after you leave out of church and after you leave out of worship and you've been in here praising the Lord, and as soon as you turn your phone back on, you got some bad news? What about when you get punched in the mouth when you're trying to take care of your family and then you're trying to do the right thing and you still lose your job? What about when you get punched in the mouth when you're trying to be faithful but you still go through some bad days? What about when you get punched in the mouth when you give financially to the church but you still can't make your ends meet? God is saying that the reason that I allow you to get punched in the mouth because the assignment that is on your life, the greatness that is before you, the amazing work that I'm going to do through you is going to require you to learn how to stay in the fight. What I have before you is going to require you to learn how to take a punch. You see, God ain't calling a bunch of soft Christians. It's too many soft Christians in the house. You are all hardcore any other day, but when it comes to the matters of the faith, we get all chicken. We tuck 10 and run. What are you talking about, preacher? You can go to your job on Monday and Tuesday and they talk about you and they criticize you, but you keep showing up. You know you had a relationship that was no good and you stayed in it for a mighty long time. But come into the house of the Lord and somebody is sat in your seat. Come into the house of the Lord and somebody didn't sing your song. Pray to God one time and ask him to answer by Monday, and here it is Tuesday and he ain't can't answer. We ain't got no staying power no more. God is saying, I need some folk on my side that'll get a punch in the mouth and still get up in the morning and say, for God I'll live, for God I'll die. I like how Job said it. He was punched in the mouth. He lost all of his goods. He lost all of his family. He said, but though he slay me, yet will I serve him. I wish I had some folks who've been punched in the mouth, but you still showed up this morning because you believe that God is who he says that he is. Men and women of God, God is preparing you for greatness. He's preparing you for promises, for things that you have not seen. And all of these little skirmishes you have been through are giving you the strength to endure what is going to be thrown at you by the enemy, because the enemy does not want you to be successful. He does not want you to accomplish the vision. So you got to learn how to stay in the fight so that God's promises will be revealed. Last thing that he